And Diamond Sutra says, the word Diamond Sutra, Vajra Chedika Pragya Paramita Sutra, means the highest realization sutra, where like a thunderbolt, like a Vajra, it's going to shatter all your concepts, all your ideas, all your beliefs, so that you're able to focus your mind and control your thoughts. So namaste and very good morning. So we are now gathered here on a Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And today, from today onwards, we're going to start the Sutra series. Okay, we're going to take up one Sutra at a time. In the last few episodes of Shunya Talks on Sunday, we covered the three jewels. So today onwards, we're going to take one very important jewel sutra, which we call the Diamond Sutra. And this is the first sutra as a part of the Shunya training that Dr. Lim translated from Chinese. And we're going to study that. I'm sure whoever attends the class will get this beautiful printed copy. They can use this copy to study. And we're calling this series Studying the Diamond Sutra with Dr. Savera, because it's a study. Our teacher Buddha has already taught this, and we are now going to try to understand the subject, study it together. And if you all have questions, you can ask, and it will be more interactive. Okay, so in the Sutra series, we are going to learn today about Vajra Chedika Pragya Paramita Sutra, as it is called. And this is an important sutra, very, very important sutra. In English, it's been translated as the Diamond Sutra. But if you have to name it in Sanskrit, and that's how the name was Vajra Chedika Pragya Paramita Sutra. Okay, the Nagpur team of SIF has done a good job in giving this PDF version a little more aesthetic. So thanks to Vinu and his team to come up with this beautiful design, which I show you all. This is available for everyone. Whoever is interested can get a copy of this PDF version for them to study. Okay, so what is the Diamond Sutra, and why it is one of the most important sutras that is considered one of the most important sutras in ancient India, which had a great influence in China also. And if you don't know, I would like to also tell you that this is the world's first printed book, and so it was printed and distributed among people, especially the traders. It becomes a very important book, a medium through which you interact with the world. Usually when you interact with the world with concepts. And Vajra Chedika, Vajra means the hardest of metal, and Indra holds this metal in his hand. And with this weapon, not even metal, it's a weapon through which he can shatter everything. And Vajra Chedika means that Vajra through which you can break through all concepts, because we all deal with this world, with concepts. And how do you get out of these concepts? You have to understand this very, very important sutra. This sutra also is the basis on which Shunya is formed. This was the first sutra that was introduced by Dr. Lim. And he told us that this is the basis on which we will end differentiation. And this is the basis of non-differentiation. So this sutra becomes a very important sutra for that purpose. This sutra is translated, if you see, it is translated from the Chinese. This was translated from Chinese to English by our own beloved Acharya Nagajiva. That's a Zen master, Dr. Lim. And basically, if you go back and trace its history, it was the Tripitaka Acharya Kumarajiv who translated it from Sanskrit to Chinese. So it was originally in Sanskrit, And then it went to Chinese, and from Chinese we are getting it back translated as it is. Now here the word as it is very important, because when I say as it is means we are trying to keep this without add-on. So Dr. Lim has made sure that there is no commentarial add-on, there is no conceptual add-on to this translation, and we have tried to keep it as it should be. So we also have a statement in the sutra that has been translated. There is no attempt at interpretation or any explanation of the sutras by the translator. So we are offering this sutra as it is. And this is very, very important, because when you have to study a subject like this, you need to understand what is this sutra all about. So as you see, there's a very, very clear indicator here on the left-hand side that says there is no attempt of interpretation or any explanation of the sutra by the translator. And if that's so with the translator himself, our Dr. Lim, and then so is with us, we can study the sutra, but we are not going to alter the name. So it's always good to use a pen and paper and something to read along when you're studying the sutra. Now, when you look at the Diamond Sutra is basically a conversational event that was recorded long time back, around 2,500 years ago, in a place called Shravasti. Shravasti, the word itself, Shravan means in Sanskrit to listen. Asti means to stay. So where the listeners stayed, maybe there was a place where people were respecting the speakers and they loved to listen. So they were the listeners, So Shravasti is that area in the northern part of India where Buddha used to go quite often, and many sutras trace back the recording in that area. And so this is a recorded event in history. And when I say recorded, that means definitely it's not something that somebody decided to come out later and from memory it came. It was recorded during the event. So there are many people who will debate on this, that 2,500 years ago, was there even the ability for humans to write, especially in India? Were they literate enough to write? And the answer would be yes, pretty much, Going back to one of the ancient mythological stories of Ramayana. If you remember, even while building the Ram Setu across the south of India to Lanka, even the monkeys, the Vanaras, were able to write on the rock Rama. So writing skills even were prevalent at that time. So no doubt about the writing abilities. And there are many sculptures that show that writing was one of the means through which we were able to record our history. And first we used to write on tablets. Then the final draft used to always be on palm leaves, carved never to change again. So that is how the permanent copy used to be. So this is a very important conversational record of Buddha with one of his very senior most disciple, Subhuti. And it's a wonderful setting. So today we will study the 2 chapters of this long sutra. And as we go forward, we're going to go slowly into understanding what it is. Okay. And before I start, remember one of the statements that comes in the sutra, it says that monks means you all listeners, including me, we all are monks. Monks means students, who practice the way. So monks, my teaching is like a raft to be discarded upon the shore. That means after you understand it, after you understand the sutra, even the sutra you have to let go. So important, it's just like a raft helping you to cross the river, but you don't carry the raft after you have crossed the river. So after you understand the whole concepts that basically are non-conceptual, then you are able to let go of even this sutra. So Bhagavan the Tathagata has nothing to teach. Remember, again I'm reiterating here that even in the sutra it is very clearly mentioned, there is nothing to teach. This was said by Subhuti. So the first chapter, okay, let's begin. I don't want to go too much into the history and this. I want to go directly to the content because content is more important. And we are so lucky, because of the recording of the event that we are able to witness something that happened 2,500 years ago in ancient India. And so the first title of the first chapter is beautifully put by Dr. Lim, Event Leading to the Assembly. Okay, that is it. So what was the event that led to the assembly? So definitely early morning on a day like this, some 2,500 years ago, Buddha sitting and everybody gathered along. You can imagine the event, where everybody is coming to listen to the Buddha speak about something. Did he really speak, or was he there just watching and observing? And because he, as he said, he has nothing to teach. So definitely he was not teaching a subject, but he was there and people came with their queries. Okay, so we need to understand this. So the even leading to assembly. Now here, every authentic sutra that has been recorded will always come with this word called "Thus have I heard." Now, one of Buddha's very close disciples, Ananda, he is credited to have, been the compiler, the final person who they say through memory had recited all the sutras, which seems to be little impossible, but definitely he would have had the skills to finalize and authenticate the content because he was the closest with Buddha. He spent a lot of time with Buddha. So symbolically, Ananda is always with Buddha and Buddha is always with Ananda. These are two words, Ananda also means happiness. So we could also say that an intelligent, wise person, happiness is always around him, recording every event of his life, So Ananda is that. And thus have I heard means this is what was heard by the author of this scripture. Okay, and so going forward, we say, once the Buddha was in Shravasti at Jetvana Grove, Ananta Pindika Park, with an assembly of 1,250 great monks. Here, the number plays a very important role. Okay, you see, why do we believe that this is an authentic sutra? Because they are giving references of the place, the time, and the audience that is there to listen to the sutra. Okay, so the place is Shravasti. It is the Jetvana Grove. Jetvana Grove is the grove that a great, donor and a follower of Buddha, who was basically you can say a fire worshipper, and he was his name was Anantapindika, and he went to when he wanted to gift or donate a piece of land for a retreat to Buddha, he went to the that time king Jeta, and he asked him to donate his most beautiful garden to Buddha, and he was ready to pay any price for it. So the king Jeta did not want it because he loved this palace, his garden a lot, and he said, "I'm not able to give you this, but the Ananta Pindika was very hellbound in saying that, no, I would love to give the best to Buddha. So please let me know your price." And so King Jeta says, okay, if you really wish to buy this, then cover the piece with gold coins. Whatever land parcel you cover with gold coins, I'll offer that to you. Now, this was a very, very expensive real estate deal at those times, covering something with gold coins and taking that as your, own land. So, but King Jeta had put this condition, but Anantapindika was a very, very rich Shreshti, a businessman, and he could technically afford to do that, So he covered the whole piece of land. It's a beautiful story. And even if you visit the whole the depository where he used to store his gold coins, it's a huge well where he used to store that. So they say that he used all the horses, the donkeys, load them day and night with gold coins to only make sure that the grove is covered with gold. And he covers that up. So King Jeta is very surprised. He's saying, wow, somebody is able to donate his life's wealth for just a simple monk. So who is this Buddha? So technically, he says, okay, I've given you the land, Ananta, Pindika, but the trees still belong to me. So it's an equal donation between you and me. So that is why the place is still today called as the Jetvana, because in the memory of King Jeta, it's called the Jetvana Grove and Ananta Pindika Park. So that's how the story goes. So this is also a symbolic of one of the greatest followers and donors of Buddha, who was ready to sacrifice and give everything just to hear him speak. So we are lucky to have the recorded history in front of us, and Diamond Sutra is one such record, very, very important sutra. Now here, with an assembly of 1,250 great monks. So by that time, you can understand that the whole Sangha, the network of Buddha had already expanded to almost 1,250 monks. That means quite a good number of people had come here and had started to learn from Buddha himself. So 1,250 is good number. So it was pretty mature at that time to come up with the questions that are going to be followed in the sutra. So before meal time, so just before lunchtime, Bhagavan put on his robe. Bhagavan, the word Bhagavan means the blessed one, who's blessed. So Buddha was called as the blessed one. Okay, so in India, even today, we call Bhagavan for all the things that are blessed, So Bhagavan put on his robe. So like a kimono that we wear, he just put on his robe. He, holding his bowl, he entered the great city of Shravasti. Okay, so what did he do? He did his basic job. First thing first, before meal time, he got up, put on his robe, took his bowl, and went out into the great city of Shravasti. Now you have to understand that that was Buddha's job. That was Buddha's duty. He had taken a vow to liberate everyone. He wanted to teach everyone. So definitely carrying the bowl was his duty. Today we carry our laptops, we carry our instruments and go and do our duty. Buddha's bowl was symbolic of duty. So he went out to the great city of Shravasti from house to house to beg for food. So that when I say the word beg, here he's using that as a means of interacting with even the lowest of the strata of people, because he never discriminated between the rich and the poor, the high and the low. So when he's going out to every house knocking, asking them for something, then in exchange he used to give them some teaching. Maybe even the other monks who did the same were there just watching over, just trying to give a little kind of years, giving everybody years to understand what their concerns are. Today, that is very much lacking in the society. Today's society does not, nobody comes out asking in your house, how are things? Is everything okay? Even the politicians come once in 5 years. Nobody is bothered, So today, even our own relatives don't ask us, forget everybody else. But imagine in those days, Buddha and his Sangha walking in a city like Shravasti, early morning before meal time, meeting everybody, asking alms from their house and interacting with them and asking them, is there anything? When they saw that, the house, everybody was able to give alms, that means this is a beautiful city. This is a beautiful place. The people here are well to do. They are satisfied. They are able to give me one handful of grains. So that made him feel good, So when he went back, all the monks used to come back with their food and they used to cook together. So the Bhagwan then returned to the retreat. So they come back, he comes back, took his meal. Okay, so they basically come together, all the danas, all the grains that they got, they used to cook together like something like a khichdi, and then they used to eat together. So Buddha took his meal, put away the robe and bowl. Okay, so he made himself comfortable, took away the robe and the bowl, and washed his feet. Okay. Now these words are very important because here the Buddha is doing everything himself. Okay, even though he's Buddha and 1250 monks are there to study with him. But the fact that he's doing it all alone is amazing, you know. You see, he's washing, he put away the robe and the bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seating. Even his seating he had arranged. Okay, we are lucky today. As soon as we have 5 or 6 people, they make arrangements for us. But even the Buddha at that time was able to do his duty. Even his seating he was arranging, and he sat down to focus his mind and meditate. Very, very important statement. Okay, he sat down to focus his mind and meditate. He finished his duty. He took care of himself, did all the necessary preparations, and then he sat down to focus his mind and meditate. Means it's like after everything, you know, you go back to your stance. Always remain in your stance. You see, like cricketer, he after the shot, he again goes back and remains in his stance. That's how you play the game. You cannot, because you hit a six in front, so you don't go and start from there the next ball. You go back and you start again. Always and always remember, this is symbolic that when Buddha finished his duty, he came back, he finished all his necessary preparations, then again back to his neutral stand to focus his mind and meditate. We don't do this. We never do this. We continue from where we have. If we have finished one action, we take it from there and we do another action. We do a third action and we get lost. We lose our central focus. And that is why we are not able to come back to the central point from where we start. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay, it is what we call centering. Today, psychology also knows the importance of centering your thoughts to where you want to go. So you might wonder, you might do so many things, but do you have the ability to come back to your center from where you all began? Okay, you see, any game, even football, after the goal is scored, they bring it back to the center and play the game again. You see, anything, you have to come to the center of things. You know, you have to come to the point. So Buddha used to do that. After everything, he used to sit down, focus his mind and meditate. Very, very important. So from this, what do we learn from this? Very, very important chapter. I think this is the foundation of all the sutras that follow in future also. Because I think there is no repetition of many things in sutras. Okay, because every sutra is connected. Sutra means a thread. Okay, and every sutra is actually binding another thread together to become the fabric of dharma. Okay, so this, all threads, they matter. So even this sutra, which is very, very important, it teaches us one thing. Before your meditation focus, what is important is your duty. First do your duty, but after doing your duty, come back to your state, your neutral state, because that is very, very important. And do not expect people to do things for you. Even if you become a Buddha, even if you're the highest, make sure that you are able to take care of yourself. The one who takes care of himself is able to always be independent. If you're dependent on every little thing, then you're finished. Then that's where your suffering will begin. Okay, always remember this and come back to the point where you start. Now, it is said that we go to the next chapter. Okay, now here, inquiry from an elder. Okay, so there were a lot of great monks that were along with Buddha. They were learning, and they were learning through, not because there was a subject, because there was a question that popped up. And through question and answer, there was a learning. So it was more of a collaborative experience from a one who has realized to the ones who are realizing. Okay, so it was a journey of exchange of doubts with clarity and answers. So that is exactly what learning should be. Okay, because if learning is one way, it doesn't work. It should be two-way. Okay, there should be somebody who knows the subject matter, and there should be somebody who is interested to know the subject matter. Then the one who is interested to know the subject matter performs his acts, then he has a problem or has difficulty, he comes out with questions, seeking answers from the one who is a master in that subject. And through them, the learning begins. So it means that every person who's learning can have a different question. Maybe the question that is coming from one person could be common for all. Okay? And that's exactly what happened 2,500 years ago. When this question, an inquiry from the elder, we say Subhuti, is where the Diamond Sutra began. What it says is, at that time, so after Buddha had just sat down to focus his mind and meditate. Okay? Yeah, you have a question? Okay. So if you have questions, you can ask. Okay? This is an interactive session. Okay? While we are doing online also, we are doing offline also. And the best thing is to write down. Okay? Always. So we have sutras there. You can pick your copy here and you can write down. Writing has always carved things in your memory. Okay, so always use a pen and paper to write down. We have Diamond Sutra copies for whoever come here. We offer them there and you can read. Okay, so let's go back to the second chapter. Inquiry from an elder. At that time, the elder Subhuti from the great assembly. See, when they have gathered together, 1250 great monks, the students, the ones who are on the same path, okay, they coming together, it's already great. It's a great assembly of seekers, the ones who are looking forward to gain the same thing that this person has gained. You see, in life, you see a successful man or a successful person. You wish to have the same success that he has achieved, or maybe more than that. And so you try to idolize him, make him your role model. And there are many who would like to do that. So the whole assembly of those people is a great assembly, which is going to bring about a massive transformation. And this example that one sets and the others follow is what brings about a change, a creative revolution that we call. Okay, so here exactly that is what is happening. At that time, the elder Subhuti, okay, from the great assembly arose from his seat. See how they are pinpointing every little thing, He arose from the seat. Okay, that means he was not standing there, okay, I want to ask a question, waiting there just to catch hold of Buddha and corner him. He was there, he saw the Buddha sit. When he realized he is doing his focus and he is in meditation, after that, when he saw that now this is the best time, when everything is okay, he is standing up from his seat, arose from his seat, uncovered his right shoulder. Okay, during those days, people used to carry a lot of stuff, on their right shoulder, bags, they used to cover their right shoulder. So actually uncovering means now I've removed everything and now I give you respect. This is very important. So when you have to disrespect somebody or something, or you don't do all these things. But in those days, that was the way of respect. Like we say today, we say namaste, we say hello, we stand up, we are courteous. These are our way of this time. But those days, this was the way. To uncover the right shoulder is like to remove your stuff and then go empty-handed to ask a question, okay? Very, very important. Because in those days, people used to carry either a sack or they used to carry some weapon or something always used to be there. Means you cannot be engaged in something and then come and ask a question because you're already coming with something. You're coming with a bag. You don't come with a bag to get your bag filled again, right? You come with an empty bag, or you come empty-handed. Then only can something be given to you. So you should be so humble when you ask a question that humbleness should be visible from your action. And when you look at it, it is saying that he arose from his seat, uncovered his right shoulder, knelt on his right knee, clasped his hand in respect, okay, and asked Buddha. Okay, this is how you ask. First, you should be submissive. First, you accept that whom you're asking the question is going to give you the answer. You should have at least that faith, Otherwise, don't ask just to prove your point that you know better than that person. Don't do that. You first find out whether that person is worthy of that. And Subhuti found Buddha and he believed that Buddha was worthy of asking the question. So he followed the whole protocol of respect and he, with clasped hand, asked the Buddha, How did he ask? Look at this. If you use these things which were used even 2500 years ago, even today, they have a profound effect in your relationships, okay? What does he say? How rare is the Bhagavan? He's appreciating him, If you want somebody to help you, you should appreciate that person. You should say, wow, how rare is the Bhagavan? How difficult it is to find you, You're very rare. How rare is the Bhagavan? The Tathagat is skillful in endorsing all bodhisattvas. He's saying that the Tathagat, the one who speaks as it is. Tatha means as it is. Okay, Gata means your language, right? Gata. Gatha means your song. So who speaks as it doesn't make up his own fantasy stories or something. He speaks things as it. So the Tathagata is skillful in endorsing all bodhisattvas. So bodhisattvas are basically, bodhi means realization. Sattva means essence. Okay. So the people who have become the essence and are going to have an experience of realization, they are called as bodhisattvas. Okay, so they are the ones who are already about to get that realization and they are engaging in that process of realization. So bodhisattvas, he's saying that Tathagata is very skillful. He's rare for sure, and he's skillful means he knows how to handle everyone. He knows how to teach everyone. He knows how to guide everyone. So he's skillful in endorsing, means supporting, guiding, standing by, okay, helping all bodhisattvas. Skillful in teaching the bodhisattvas, even skillful in teaching the bodhisattvas. When you say teaching, remember again, teaching means somebody is not able to do, then you go and teach. Teaching is not that I give you something and you have to learn. Teaching is, hey, you take the cycle, you try, you cannot balance, I hold you. Okay, now can you balance? Okay, put you in water, can you swim? Oh, you cannot swim, why don't you do this? Teaching is on the job, on your action, in your engagement, not in a classroom. That is not what teaching is. But today teaching has become like that. It has become a subject where you are taught in a classroom setting only, but life skills are missing. And here, that's not what Subhuti is saying. Subhuti is saying, how rare is the Bhagavan? Okay? The Tathagat is skillful in endorsing all bodhisattvas, skillful in teaching all bodhisattvas. Okay? The Bhagavan, when a virtuous man and or a virtuous woman. Now a question is coming. After appreciation, question comes. So before a question, you have to appreciate the one whom you are asking the question. Today we don't do that. We go like this. Okay. Oh, so let me ask you a question. This is not the way you ask question. That is more like war. You're not going for learning. You're going for winning. You don't get learning like that. When you ask a question, at least you should know whom you are asking. At least show your respect to the person so that he is open to at least guide you. Okay? People don't do that today. Never do that today. And hence, most of your conversations have become conversations of debate, have become a conversation of who is right and wrong, rather than who is learning, who is actually getting a chance to be guided. That is not happening. So this is a very, very important skill. Now, pay very close attention to the words, okay? Dr. Lim has translated this very, very carefully, making sure there is no add-ons and there is no deletion also. As it is. So this Diamond Sutra is as it is. Now here, how rare is the Bhagavan? The Tathagat is skillful in endorsing all bodhisattvas. See, he's coming up again with the word bodhisattvas, skillful in teaching the bodhisattvas. As soon as he's saying that hey Tathagata, hey Buddha, you are skillful in endorsing bodhisattvas, you are skillful in teaching the bodhisattvas. My question comes here now. Bhagavan, when a virtuous man or a virtuous woman, okay, what is he saying? When a virtuous man or a virtuous woman. What is a virtuous man or virtuous woman? Is the one who follows the Panchashil. That is virtue. So technically, he's asking that, Bhagavan, you are endorsing the bodhisattvas, you're teaching the bodhisattvas. Now my question is, if, when a virtuous man or a virtuous woman, that means one who follows the Panchashil. Technically, one who follows the Panchashil automatically becomes the bodhisattva. You understood? See how smartly it is being put. So when a virtuous man or a virtuous woman, means technically a bodhisattva, okay, he was already on the path of realization, because even if you don't do anything, you follow the Panchashil, you're already on the path of realization. So powerful, So, but there is a doubt that comes in Subhuti's mind. So he asks, Bhagwan, when a virtuous man or a virtuous woman wishes to attain a state of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, okay, now one who is practicing the Panchashil, such a person, if he wishes, everybody wishes something, right? When you practice, you do, what do you want to do? You want to have a better version of yourself. So why do you practice Panchashil? So that there is no bad version of yourself. There's a good version of yourself. And what is Anuttara is something that cannot go beyond. Uttara, there is nothing beyond that. Samyak, equilibrium. Sambodhi means the highest realization. Okay? What if a virtuous man or a virtuous woman wishes to attain the state of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi? How should they focus their mind? Question is coming. What is it? How should they focus their mind and how they control their thoughts? Two questions coming, very nicely put. Okay, first question is how to focus the mind and how to control the thoughts. Because I tell you, to be a virtuous man or a virtuous woman, to follow the Panchashil, to take up the responsibility of a bodhisattva or to walk the path of bodhisattva is definitely not going to be easy, because your mind is going to get distracted. So the most important challenge is how to focus the mind. And the second one is what? How to control the thoughts, because thoughts are what are going to definitely come. So these two things become the most important thing. And Subhuti is very, very clever. That is why they said the elder, okay? So the elder means the one who knows, but he is questioning on behalf of everyone. Because sometimes you see, maybe there is a new person who gets that thought, but he is hesitant to ask, because he thinks there are so many elder people, if I ask, what will be? So they are so compassionate. They can act on behalf of the most, the foolish or the most ignorant also, and ask a question representing their query. Okay, they represent everybody's doubt. And he's very, very nicely putting this forth to Buddha himself. And they're asking this question. So remember, two questions coming in. How to focus their mind and how can they control their thought. I think 2,500 years ago, this question was important then. Even today, it has the same significance. In our life, how do we focus our mind? Okay, and how do we control our thoughts? I think this is the answer. If we can do this, I think that's the path of realization, right? That is the way. This is the way. If I can only manage to focus my mind and control my thoughts. Now here, look at the way the Buddha replies. Okay, this will also teach you first. Now, two lessons you learn here. How to ask a question, how to build your relationship, how to start your relationship, okay, how to engage with the world. Very, very important. You engage with the sensible people, right? From which you can get something, either knowledge, either guidance, either something, trade-off or something. So there is definitely Subhuti has shown us the way how to engage with the people, and there's a way, we call it a way of respect, a polite way, okay, a way of appreciation, a way through which you're ready to listen and to trade off with the other person. Now look at the way Buddha replies. The Buddha said, okay, excellent, excellent Subhuti. Wow. Now that's a great teacher. Even for a question, he's appreciating the question. Otherwise, why should they appreciate? Today, if you ask, we say, oh, what a question you're asking. Some gurus I've seen, there are videos where they're asking a question, he's saying, whoa, they laugh, ha, 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 ha. You cannot do that. Okay, because a question will always be something that the person is asking because he wants to know the answer. Okay, so here you should understand the Buddha said, excellent, excellent Subhuti. Now that gives that inspiration to the one who has asked the question. It's not a foolish question. It's a question that I've asked is excellent and it's good. So he's saying, excellent, excellent Subhuti, as you have stated. Okay, now what he's doing? Very, very important. Now, Buddha is again confirming because what you asked and what I understood, is it the same? Okay, so you have to match. Otherwise, it doesn't work, right? So we have to say, as you have stated, the Tathagat is skillful in endorsing the Bodhisattvas. Yes, you're right. The Tathagat is skillful in endorsing the Bodhisattvas, all Bodhisattvas. Skillful in instructing the Bodhisattvas. So, now he's telling, how is he? He's skillful in endorsing all Bodhisattvas and skillful in instructing the Bodhisattvas, because teaching is through instruction. Remember, if you go back, Subhuti is asking, Tathagat is skillful in endorsing all Bodhisattvas. Okay? And he says, second, skillful in teaching the Bodhisattvas. So Buddha reiterates his words, confirms, hey, excellent, Subhuti, very good. Okay? You said that Tathagat is skillful in endorsing all Bodhisattvas, skillful in instructing the Bodhisattvas. Teaching is through instruction. Okay? Now listen. So I agree to you. Yes, I am this. Sometimes you have to be able to accept what people believe you are. So if I am a doctor and patient comes, sir, we have seen that you are a good Ayurvedic doctor, you have this knowledge, you should say, yes, I'm an Ayurvedic doctor. You confirm to him. You understand? Otherwise, they don't know. Okay? You confirm and validate their knowledge that, yes, I'm the same person. You have heard about me, I'm the one. Okay, so don't worry. Now listen. Okay, so Buddha says, now listen, and I shall explain to you how a virtuous man or a virtuous woman who wishes to attain the state of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi should focus their mind and control their thoughts. What is he doing? Just repeating, confirming, agreeing, validating his question, saying what? Now listen, okay, and I shall explain to you how a virtuous man or a virtuous woman, that means one who follows the Panchashil, the Bodhisattva way, who wishes to attain the state of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, highest of the realization, nothing beyond that, okay, should focus their mind and control their thoughts. Now that gives an assurance to the one who's asking a question. Yeah, exactly. I asked this question and he is going to answer this question. Okay. Now, Subhuti is definitely going to be happy with that, right? Because his question has gone there and the question has been confirmed. Okay, exactly. Otherwise, you will have big challenges. Today, you ask Alexa some question and she gives you some weird answer, right? You tell Alexa, give me this. They say, no, not this, Alexa. We want this answer. And Alexa gives something else because she doesn't confirm back the question. If Alexa would have done this, so yes, Rajesh, we have asked this question. Do you want me to process this question? Then I would think, oh, that would have been a better way, But I think that's where the intelligence changes, But during those time, 2,500 years ago, this was the case where when a student asked the question, he asked the question to the teacher by praising him, accepting him, okay, and being humble to him, respecting him, ready to receive an answer from him. And how did the teacher answer the question? By appreciating the student, okay, then by reiterating his question, telling that question is a good question, okay, and let me answer this to you, now you listen. I think that is where he is prepared. Everybody is prepared. Now with this, what is happening? The conversation is happening between Buddha and Subhuti. Okay, these two are having conversation. But how many monks were there? 1,250. So 1,249 monks are listening to him. Yes or no? So actually, isn't that their question too? Isn't that our question too? Even we want to know how, if we get a chance to ask Buddha a question, we would definitely ask these two questions. Hey Buddha, please let us know how do I focus my mind and control my thoughts? Because he is the best man to ask that question, right? Because after everything, he goes back. You remember the first chapter? He goes back after finishing his duty, sits down to focus his mind and meditate. So definitely he knows how to focus the mind and he knows how to control the thoughts. And that is how? Through meditation, because otherwise that word meditate would not have come. Okay, you see the sequence. First, focus the mind. Definitely there is a way to focus the mind. And second is how to control the thoughts. Definitely there is a technique to do that. And Buddha was the best person to ask this question. So even 2,500 years after the Buddha had answered this question, if we get a chance, we would still ask the same question. And luckily, because of the sutra, okay, and thanks to Dr. Lim to translate it back from Chinese to English for us to understand, and thanks to Kumar Jiva to translate from Sanskrit to Chinese. And I don't know whom should we thank, because there would definitely be somebody who had written down this in Sanskrit. But Ananda was one of those people who compiled it and endorse it, that yes, this is the what he had heard. So this is what is very important. So what is Diamond Sutra all about? Two things only: how to focus your mind, and that is Diamond Sutra. And Diamond Sutra says, the word Diamond Sutra, Vajra Chediga Pragya Paramita Sutra, means the highest realization sutra, where like a thunderbolt, like a Vajra, it's going to shatter all your concepts, all your ideas, all your beliefs, so that you're able to focus your mind and control your thoughts. And I think that, is a very interesting subject. Okay, and we will be learning over a period. Next time also we will be doing, and next week we will do the next two chapters. Okay, we go slow in two chapters, because every chapter is an essence, and we have to understand this. So now we know the setting. Now the interest is created. Now we want to know how it is done, okay? Because Buddha is going to answer this, okay? So like in many serials, we leave it at the point of climax. So this second chapter leaves it at the point of climax. What is going to be the answer of Buddha, What is he going to say? How is he going to guide Subhuti with these two questions, which actually is the question not only of the 1250 monks out there, including Subhuti, but I think so the whole human species who is expecting realization. This is the same question, because this was the same question maybe Buddha himself had when he was going on his path, right? So this is a common question for every seeker. And I think this question will be very well answered in our coming series. So now we are almost 53 minutes into this talk, only 2 chapters, but it has set the stage, okay, for our interesting talks for next week. So practice that and see you next week. Till then, namaste. Thank you.